friend. Hey, it's SJ, your favorite spiritual life coach. And I was at the gym. And out of nowhere, I just started getting these downloads about endings and what these endings mean and getting prepared and why just all this craziness. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta go home and sage space and hop into it. Okay, so here we are. All right, if this resonates with you and you want to go to the extended, okay, we are going to have an extended after this, and you can do so by clicking on the link in the description box below. If after this you're like, I need to get a personal reading, you can also do that by clicking on my website, which is in the description box below. Okay, so we're getting ready to find out what is this ending or this shift. Ooh. First card out is the Devil. This could be connected to Capricorn and Pluto, okay, which is going to be swinging back September 1st through, I believe, November, okay? You're going to want to find what house is ruled by Capricorn in your chart. Don't go to, Astrology Cafe where it gives you the list. You're going to want the circle. I know AstroSeek has it, the circle, because there's 12 houses. So even if you don't have planets in Capricorn, there's still a house that is ruled by Capricorn, okay? All right. So what is this ending or situation that my collective is going through? All right, this looks like this is an ending of giving more of yourself to other people, releasing yourself from toxic situations simply because you're wanting to give to other people, people-pleasing tendencies, okay? This is a situation of you guys sacrificing yourselves for the greater good. Maybe if I sacrifice, and do overtime and sacrifice my health and my body for this job, eventually they will feel like I am a good employee and like I am worthy of being a supervisor or being a team lead or, some type of raise or increase like that. This is also giving the energy of being in a relationship and giving of yourself, being compromising, being loving, being healing. Okay. And, wanting for them to see your worth. Okay. With this Knight of Wands, this is giving me the energy of you guys dealing with relationships, connections, or jobs that were very wishy-washy. This is an energy of you guys are no longer dealing with connections, jobs, family, friends, any of that, where there's not a consistent level of support. Like this could be, when, I don't know, your kid was sick with COVID for a long time. That's just an example. And your job was understanding, hey, you're a really good employee. You have to take some days off and things like that. We totally understand. It's not that big of a deal, but then, a couple months later, you have been consistent in showing up and you have been consistent in going hard. But then like you're going through a divorce or you're, having to move houses or whatever. And then it's like, now it's a problem, or now they're treating you like you always do this. And you're like, I only did this one other time. I've been at this job for like 10 years. And this is the only other time that I've really asked for time off. Like they have not been consistent in the support, in the foundation that they have given to you, but you've been, completely consistent with them. This could also be in a relationship where when they needed you, they were going through something. There was a death in a family, whatever, you were always there. You were always solid. When there was a death in your family, they were solid. But then as soon as, you got laid off, you're looking for another job and you're just going through something. This person is like, why are you always sad? You always acting depressed every time I call. It's like, they're not stable. Like you're realizing that there are people around you that just don't have your back the way you have their back. Rather it's a job, rather it's family members. Okay. I'm also getting an energy too here of some of you guys that have elevated, or some of you guys that have elevated, or, you got your own business or whatever. This is an energy of you guys are realizing that there are certain people that are just using you for your money or what you could do for them or the connections that you have. It's also getting this energy of you guys are really starting to see the difference between somebody who is going through something so they can't show up the way that you want them to right now because they are drained and they're going through their own thing, versus somebody who's only hanging around you because of what they get from that, or when they're bored or when they're lonely. Okay. So what's coming to an end here is you guys realizing in what areas where your boundaries, self-worth, or self-love, or even your values and morals, where they were conditional. Okay. Because you may not tolerate somebody at work talking to you crazy, but then the person that you like or that you're dating, they may say something disrespectful or out of pocket, and you're so caught off guard, you don't say anything, or you just hang up the phone, where as if it was somebody at work, you'd have cussed them clean out. So it's like showing you, if you don't have consistent where you would have cursed somebody out across the board, then maybe your self-worth and self-love is not as solid as it was before. Some of you guys are realizing, I am not going to change this person. I'm not going to change the way that this job shows up for me. I'm not going to change the way this person shows up for me. But I can change who I deal with. Like, this is just not the type of energy that I want. I don't need to change the way that I deal with this person. Maybe I just need to change this person altogether. I don't need to change the way I show up at this job. Maybe I just need to change this job altogether. Because you guys fought really hard to make a lot of the changes that you guys made. And a lot of you guys like the person that you're becoming. You're like taking your power back. You like the fact that you stand on business now. You like the fact that, in a lot of ways, you've taken your power back, and now you're an authority over your own life. You're no longer people pleasing. You're no longer caring about what others have to say. You're standing up for yourself. You're just not letting things be excused. You like this person that you are and that you're becoming. So it's like, I'm not going to keep staying somewhere or in a situationship or in a friendship or, going back and forth at family reunions because, Aunt Nicole thinks she can talk to anybody any kind of way because she's 60 years old. Like, yo, like, you just can't say anything to me and expect me not to say anything because respect your elders. Like, I get that, but there's a way to talk to me and a way not to talk to me, or there's a way to say something without being flat out disrespectful and putting somebody on the spot. So this is right here is simply giving this energy that what's ending for you is finding excuses to stay in situations that you guys know have been done and over with. Because some of you guys are holding on to this. You say that you're holding on to this because you're planning to find another job. You're getting your money together to leave the situation, but that's not what this looks like. This looks like it's comfort. It's comfort. At least I know, my 401k is at this job. I get some type of seniority at this job, at least in this relationship, I already know the type of person that I'm dealing with, at least I already, we have kids together or just whatever. It's giving the energy of some of you guys are going to be realizing like there's a shift that's getting ready to happen, whether you like it or not. And you know everything that you need to know about this situation. So wherever the chips fall, it's going to be on you because now you know better. You know what I mean? Okay. So what's the lesson or the purpose of this ending or whatever this is that's coming to an end? Because this ending feels like it has to happen. But we're going to find out why. Why? What is the lesson or the purpose of this ending for the collective? The purpose or the lesson of this? Ooh, some of y'all are not going to want to hear this, but I say this with so much love. Some of you guys are going to be realizing that karma is not good or bad. Karma is simply the intentions of the energy that you put out and that coming back to you. There's a consequence for everything. Some of you guys are going to be realizing you don't get an extra cookie for staying in a situation for what seems like the right reasons. For the kids, staying in a situation because, this person, they're not in a position to move out yet. I'm trying to be the bigger person and make sure that they can get on their feet first. Or, I am trying to be the bigger person and make sure that this is, peaceful. I'm staying at this job because right now I know that they're short on people, because essentially that's still a form of sacrificing yourself. The lesson that you're supposed to learn here is fire is hot, not the stove. Some of you guys are looking at this like, if the stove is hot and somebody says, hey, that stove is hot, some of you guys would have been like, I can handle it. I like hot stuff. Or, I can handle it. I can pull my hand away before I get burned. And then you get burned. And you have convinced yourself that the lesson is stoves are hot. Got it. You noted. But then you run into a grill with hot coals. And you're like, ooh, I think I'm going to touch that. I mean, it's not a stove. And then you get burnt. And then you may see a bonfire and people are roasting marshmallows. And you're like, I don't need a stick. Like, it's not like it's a grill. It's not like it's a stove. I can do it. And then you get burnt. Because the lesson is that fire is hot in any form. No matter how the fire is presented to you, it's still going to cause pain. You're still going to sacrifice yourself. You're still going to get burnt. There's no way around it. There is no way for you to touch or entertain fire without getting burnt in some shape, form, or fashion, even if it's just the heat that singes off the hair on your eyebrows. Okay? So you guys are learning, no matter what reason that you give for staying at this job or staying in this situation and coming off as a good person, you're still choosing to stay in a situation that you know that you have outgrown or that is not for you. Now, how does this affect the situation as a whole? Jordan, can you shut the laundry room? It's kind of loud. Thank you. How does this affect you? Well, you guys are creating karma for yourself. And what this looks like here is that some of you guys may be convincing yourself that the karma you have coming towards you, staying in the situation, won't be that bad because my intentions are pure. You cannot decide to run a red light and say to yourself, I'm going to run this red light, and I know that there's a chance that another car could come, but I can control the damage that happens to my car. But then you roll through the red light and it's an 18-wheeler and you just have a little tiny Honda Civic. You cannot control the damage once you have made the decision. Just because you were in a rush, just because there was no other people around, whatever excuse you give yourself is not going to change the fact that if you run that red light and that 18-wheeler comes through, you don't get to determine the damage that it causes you or your car. I don't care what good-hearted intention you had. I don't care where your heart was at. I don't care if you did it for all the right reasons. You still made a choice, knowing that it was going to be a consequence, but assuming that because you're a good person, you're a light worker, you're doing this for the kids, you're staying at this job because they're low on people, that however the consequences come back around, it's not going to be that bad, because it is. Because the lesson is that fire is hot in any form. It could be a curling iron. Fire is still hot. It's not the stove. It's not the grill. It doesn't matter what form that fire shows up in, it's still hot. Unfortunately, some of you guys are going to be learning that, because some of you guys, you just have a problem with change. You just have a problem with being uncomfortable, because the lesson in this relationship, in this friendship, in this job was so painful to learn the lessons that you had to learn. Your heart was broken too many times by this person. You've gone through so much with this person. You may look at this person like, but this person is really changing. Yeah, they're not anywhere near where they need to be, but they're just now starting to get it together. But for how long? Because at any point they can decide, I've done enough, I'm done. And you're going to be feeling like you've been gypped, but you weren't gypped because you made the choice to stay in, knowing that they were dragging their feet, knowing they weren't really dedicated to their healing. They're dedicated to other things outside of this connection, knowing they're not as dedicated to you, your feelings, or how they show up in this connection. Same thing with this job. Staying at this job because, they don't have a whole lot of people or whatever. So I'm just going to go ahead and stay at this job, just until they can hire, a few more people. And then all of a sudden you're overworked and you get injured, and they're like, we're just going to go ahead and let you go since you're not able to work the way that we need you to work. You're going to be upset. You're going to be feeling like, oh, they deserve karma. Look, rather they deserve karma or not, it doesn't negate the fact that you stayed in that situation knowing that you had learned everything that you needed to learn, knowing that that situation was no longer something that you should stay towards. Some of you guys have even started the process of leaving and moving in the direction that you're supposed to move to, but making excuses to go back. So some of you guys is giving like wishy-washy energy. I'm telling you now, with the 5 of Swords, you're going to end up regretting it, because by the time it's all said and done, it's not going to be the victory that you think it is. You're going to have a lot more pieces to pick up, whether this is a job or whether this is a friendship or a connection. With the Star card, you already know that this person is who they say they are. You've renewed this connection 3 or 4 times. You've gone back and forth with this boss 3 or 4 times. You already know who you're dealing with. Thinking that if you handle them differently, you're going to save yourself is no. So those of you guys that are ready, we're going to find out, what is this preparing you for? What's next? What is this preparing you for? What is the point of all this? Spirit, now that they've learned all this, what's happening next? What's next after this, the permanent, after the ending of this connection, the ending of this job, what's next? Where is this taking them to? What is the point of this? Okay. Ooh-wee. Okay. All right. What's coming for you next is there's a whole new level that you guys are getting ready to enter. Some of you guys may be entering where you're understanding this frequency of like feast and famine, this frequency of, I know how to manifest, but how do I keep the manifestation? I can manifest good things for myself, but then sometimes I lose them, or it takes too long, or I get like the Walmart Dollar General version of my manifestation. How do I continue to bring in manifestations without restriction? And it's an energy shift. It's a frequency shift. So The Queen of Cups in reverse and the Tower lets me know that your entire being and who you thought you were, what you thought you could accept, and what you thought you could deal with, not deal with, and all of that, that kind of had to be like that tower had to fall, because it's making you see where your values and your morals may not 100% align with the frequency that you give out. It's like, ooh, Spirit, I'm not gonna say that. It's like somebody who says, I know you lying. If that ever happened to me, I would have left him. I would have left him a long time ago. And then it happens to them, and then they stay with the person, and they don't never go nowhere. It's like what you deserve, what you can have, what you can create mentally. Give me a second, guys. Somebody's ringing my door. Please do not ever come to my house trying to sell something, because anyway. So this is an energy of your frequency doesn't match what you mentally understand. That's still not the frequency that you're putting out. So what's coming up next is Spirit is showing you where there's a disconnect, and there's a new beginning that's going to be happening that you're already preparing for, but you're going to start to notice your body may react differently to certain things. So an example that I'll use is like, let's just say when your deposit comes and all of a sudden there's a big drop when you check your bank account, the first thing is like your heart may have dropped, or you feel a wash of anxiety come over you, and then you check and you're like, oh, it's a certain bill and it came out early. That scared me. Like that's a physical reaction, right? This is an energy of whatever it is for you. This is where you may be noticing. I say that I am ready for a committed person who's going to really want to work on a relationship. But then you start dating and you start getting to know people. And then as soon as somebody's like, You know what? We've been talking for 3 months. I really like you. I want to take this to the next level. All of a sudden, this fear or this wash comes over you of like, oh, So it's like a sign that while you may feel, please, that way, why you may feel ready and prepared, when it's presented to you, you're not. So the next thing that's coming up is your whole identity is shifting. It's like it's going to click. Maybe I'm not attracting the right relationships because I say that I want to be married and I want to be committed, but I'm not really moving in the frequency of somebody who wants to be committed. You know, I want a different job. I want to level up in my finances, but am I really moving like somebody who levels up in things in their finances? So the next thing that's coming up, this is an energy of your energetic field catching up to what you may have already understood or know in your mind. At some point, you're going to understand the lesson is fire, not that the stove is hot or that the grill is hot. Okay. So how do I raise my vibration so that when I feel a heat wave, I instantly understand, oh, that's the lesson. I don't even have to go over there. I already know. I don't have to see a stove. I don't have to see a grill. All I had, the little heat wave came over me and I already knew somewhere over there's fire. I get it. I don't even need to be over there. So it's like you guys are going to get it, but then it's like your frequency is going to end up catching up to that. Okay. I do want to ask one more question before going into the extended. Is why does spirit feel like you're ready now versus before? Because I do get an energy of some of you guys may have tried to walk away from a job or walk away from a person before. And it was like, I was really ready to do this, a few years ago, and like nothing really aligned. So why now? Because I don't know why I'm hearing that. Let me see. All right. Why are they ready for this change now, or how will they know that they're ready? So why are you ready now, or how will you know that you're ready? Ooh. I'm going to just stick with one thing at a time because we'll ask that in the extended. So why are you ready now versus before? Ooh wee. So number one, some of you guys, there was an ego death that hadn't happened yet. Like some of you guys still could not accept that this person doesn't see your worth. You may have convinced yourself they see my worth, they're just not doing anything about it. Or, I know that I'm what they want. They just don't think I'm going anywhere. Like it's deeper than that. Like, because at the end of the day, why does any of that matter? Rather they see your worth, whether they don't see your worth, rather you're what they want and they're just not stepping up. None of that matters. What matters is, what are they doing about it? What are they doing about it? If somebody tells you, look, I know that you don't have a car. I know that you need a ride, and I'm already going that way anyway. Well, why tell me that if you're not going to come pick me up? What does that do for me? I understand that you understand my situation. You understand that we're going in the same direction. I understand that you understand that this would be so much easier if we did it this way. But what's the point of telling me if you're not going to do anything? If this person knows your worth, understands your worth, if this job knows your worth and understands what you bring to the table, what does it matter if they're not doing anything about it? So in the past, even though you guys were essentially ready, stop it. Sorry, that's my dog. For what comes next, there was still a part of you that was looking back. Like, what if? Like, but what if? So you guys are at a point now where you're like, I don't care what if. I don't care. Like, this is what it is. This is what it isn't. If I want something, I'm going to have to go get it. There's no reason why I can't have the life that I want to live or work the job that I want to work. I know that I'm worth it. I know that another job is going to pay me my worth. You had me all this time. You did nothing as far as paying me my worth. You did nothing as far as making my life easier. So it doesn't matter if you want me back. It doesn't matter if you're ready to pay me what I'm worth now. Why did it take all of this for you to pay me what I'm worth? There's just a level of, you know what this is? You guys are ready now because you guys had this been presented to you before, or when you left this person, or when you tried to look for another job or left this job, you still kind of were holding out hope. So if this person were to come back and be like, hey, I've changed, like, whatever, you still would have gone backwards happily. You still happily would have been in a connection with this person. You still happily would have stayed at this job. And the fact is, no matter how you look at it, it was the lesson that it was, and it's just time to move forward. So it's kind of like spirit let you exhaust all avenues. So now that they're like, all right, now are you ready to go? There is no what if. There is no, well, what if I just would have waited a little longer to see if they would have, been able to grow up a little bit, or, they said that they were having a hard time because they were going through this in their life. What if I just would have waited a little longer, with this job, like I've been here for this long, what if I would have been here for that long? And spirit let you tire yourself out. And now spirit's like, now that you have exhausted every what if, and now that you see every what if and goes to a dead end, every avenue goes down to a what if, every potential that you could possibly think of in your head, it's a dead end. So are you ready to go now? That's why it couldn't have happened sooner. This is something that once you get into the swing of things, you're not supposed to be looking back. You're not supposed to be second guessing. You're supposed to be very confident. And even if you're sad, this doesn't mean that you won't grieve this job. It doesn't mean that you won't miss the people you work with or even miss the kind of work. It doesn't mean that you won't miss this person. Y'all didn't have a good time together. This is simply you getting to a place where you're like, you know what? I love you so much. I love you so much. And we've had so much together, but you're just not what I need. I've just outgrown this. It's no hard feelings and it's not personal, but I've outgrown this. You had to get to that point because you were still carrying a torch for this job or for this person or for this situation. And spirit wanted you to get to a point where there was no more lights left to light. Holding a candle for whom? Because now there's no lights and that person's not going to give you a candle. Okay. So we're going to go into the extended. In the extended, we're going to find out what you need to do to prepare for this situation, because this seems intense. We're also going to find, where does this lead? What happens? Because this is definitely a shift. So what happens after this shift? Like what's to come after that? Okay. And we're also going to find out like what this next level is, because the next level comes with all types of lessons. So if this lesson was about self-worth and people pleasing and your ego, well, what could we possibly have from there? So we're going to find all that out. If you want to follow me to the extended, go ahead and click in the link below. If this is where it ends for you, you're absolutely amazing, and I will see you guys in the next one.